I still remember the exact moment my life shattered. The room went silent as my father stood up during my 25th birthday dinner, raised his glass, and announced to everyone that I was no longer his daughter. Then my mother looked me straight in the eyes and said the words that would haunt me for months. "You are not welcome in this family anymore." What made it even worse was that 3 tables away, strangers I had never seen before were staring at me with tears in their eyes. At the time, I had no idea those strangers were my real family. My name is Emma, and this is the story of how my parents disowned me on my birthday, only for me to discover a secret that changed everything. Growing up, I always felt different. My parents, Richard and Diane, adored my younger brother Tyler. Everything revolved around him. When Tyler got A B in school, they threw him a celebration dinner. When I graduated at the top of my class, they barely looked up from their phones. I spent my entire childhood trying to earn their love. I cleaned the house. I worked part-time jobs. I helped pay bills when money was tight. Nothing was ever enough. Whenever I asked why they treated Tyler differently, my mother would snap. "Stop being jealous." But deep down, I always felt there was something they weren't telling me. As the years passed, the favoritism became impossible to ignore. When I was 22, my grandmother passed away. She had been the only person who truly loved me. At the reading of her will, she left me her vintage jewelry collection and a small savings account. The moment we got home, my parents demanded I hand everything over to Tyler. "He needs it more than you do," my father said. I refused. That was the beginning of the war. For the next 3 years, every family gathering became a battlefield. Tyler constantly borrowed money and never repaid it. My parents covered for him every time. Meanwhile, they criticized everything I did. The final straw came when I bought my first home. I worked overtime for years to save for it. Instead of congratulating me, my parents accused me of being selfish. My father actually said, "If you cared about family, you'd let Tyler live there for free." Tyler was 27 years old and unemployed by choice. I said no. From that moment on, they treated me like an enemy. Still, I never imagined what they had planned for my 25th birthday. My parents insisted on organizing a big dinner at an expensive restaurant. I thought maybe things were improving. Maybe they wanted to repair our relationship. I couldn't have been more wrong. Nearly 50 people attended. Relatives, family friends, neighbors. Everyone smiled as I walked in. For a brief moment, I felt hopeful. Then dessert arrived. My father stood up. He tapped his glass. The room fell silent. "Before we celebrate," he said, "there's something everyone should know." A knot formed in my stomach. His face was cold. Emotionless. He looked directly at me. "Emma has repeatedly betrayed this family." The room erupted with whispers. I felt my chest tighten. "What are you talking about?" I asked. My mother stood beside him. "She's selfish, disrespectful, and has abandoned her responsibilities." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Then came the worst part. My father pulled out a folder. Inside were copies of text messages completely taken out of context. He presented them like evidence in a courtroom. One by one, they painted me as a horrible daughter. Relatives stared at me in shock. Some looked disgusted. Others looked confused. Then my father delivered the final blow. "As of today, Emma is no longer part of this family." I felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. People I had known my entire life avoided eye contact. Nobody defended me. Not one person. I grabbed my purse and ran out of the restaurant in tears. Outside, I sat on a bench struggling to breathe. That's when a woman approached me. She looked to be in her early 50s. Her eyes were red from crying. "Emma?" she asked softly. I nodded. The woman began trembling. "Oh my God." Before I could respond, she hugged me. I froze. "Who are you?" I asked. The woman started crying harder. Then a man and a younger woman joined her. All three looked emotional. The man spoke. "We've been searching for you for 25 years. My heart nearly stopped. What? The woman pulled out an old photograph. It showed a baby wrapped in a pink blanket. The baby wore a tiny bracelet. Around my wrist was the exact same bracelet. The one I had worn my entire life. The woman whispered words that changed everything. "I'm your biological mother." The world went silent. I honestly thought I was hallucinating. The next few days felt unreal. DNA testing confirmed everything. The people who raised me were not my biological parents. 25 years earlier, there had been a hospital mix-up involving 2 newborn girls. The mistake had never been discovered. My biological family had spent decades searching for answers after noticing inconsistencies in medical records. Eventually, advances in DNA databases led them to me. And somehow, they happened to be dining in the same restaurant the night my parents disowned me. The coincidence was unbelievable. But things became even stranger. While learning about my biological family, I uncovered another secret. Richard and Diane had known for years. I was speechless. According to documents uncovered during legal investigations, they discovered the hospital error when I was 16. They secretly confirmed it through DNA testing. But they never told me. Instead, they hid the truth. Why? Because Tyler wasn't their biological child either. He was actually the biological child they had raised by mistake. If the truth came out, they feared losing him. So they buried everything. Suddenly my entire childhood made sense. The favoritism. The distance. The resentment. They knew I wasn't biologically theirs. And they treated me differently because of it. I was devastated. But I was also angry. For the first time in my life, I stopped chasing their approval. Instead, I hired an attorney. What happened next shocked everyone. The legal investigation revealed Richard and Diane had knowingly concealed critical records connected to the hospital case. The scandal attracted media attention. Relatives who once believed their lies started contacting me. Many apologized. Others admitted they always suspected something wasn't right. Meanwhile, my biological family welcomed me with open arms. For the first time, I experienced unconditional love. Sunday dinners. Birthday calls. Family vacations. Simple things most people take for granted. I finally understood what family was supposed to feel like. Then came the confrontation. Several months later, Richard and Diane requested a meeting. Curiosity got the better of me. I agreed. When I arrived, they looked older. Smaller somehow. My father cleared his throat. "We made mistakes." I stared at him. "Mistakes?" My voice shook. "You publicly humiliated me." Neither spoke. "You let me spend 25 years wondering why I wasn't good enough." Tears filled my mother's eyes. But I wasn't finished. "You knew the truth. And you chose to hurt me anyway." For the first time, they had no excuses. No lies. No manipulation. Nothing. Just silence. Then my mother whispered something unexpected. "We thought if we pushed you away, it would protect Tyler." I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was absurd. They destroyed one child to save another. And in the end, they lost both. Tyler had stopped speaking to them after learning the truth. Their entire family had collapsed. The karma they spent years creating had finally arrived. But the biggest twist came a few weeks later. My biological grandfather passed away. He had become incredibly close to me in a short time. Before his death, he updated his estate plan. To everyone's surprise, he left a significant portion of his inheritance to me. Not because I was family by blood. But because, in his words, "Emma knows the value of loyalty." When the news spread, some relatives accused me of being lucky. They had no idea how much pain came before that blessing. Money didn't heal everything. But it gave me freedom. A fresh start. A future. 1 year after being disowned, I celebrated my 26th birthday. This time, I wasn't sitting across from people who barely tolerated me. I was surrounded by people who genuinely loved me. As candles flickered on my cake, I looked around the table. My biological mother was smiling. My sisters were laughing. My cousins were arguing over board games. For the first time in my life, I felt at home. Then my mother handed me a small gift. Inside was the photograph from the restaurant. The moment my real family found me. On the back, she had written a simple sentence. "We never stopped looking for you." I broke down crying. Not because of the years I lost, but because of what I finally found. The parents who disowned me thought they were destroying my life. Instead, they accidentally gave me the greatest gift imaginable. The truth. And sometimes the family you spend your whole life searching for has been searching for you too.